Hey everybody, Chris with Wallowa Hikes. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel for beginning backpackers, and if you look at some of the other videos, we're going to take you from very start to getting out on the trail, and we're really close to that. And in this video, we're going to talk about packing your backpack for a backpacking trip. So today, going to take a look at some gear I have. And we're going to pack that gear for a 3-day trip. We're going to go back in time to my first backpacking trip, which was a 3-night trip in the Wallowa Mountains of northeastern Oregon. And I've made a list of the things I would take today. And we're going to pack those into the pack. Going to show you how I do it and give you some little tips and tricks along the way. And then we're going to get everything together so you have an idea, once you've planned your trip and you're ready to go, how to pack all of your stuff into your backpack so that it fits and so it's comfortable and so you don't have a big giant mess when you get there. So let's take a look at what we've got today and we'll go from there. So I've made a list of everything I'm going to take on this trip, and I've pulled all of those things out and I've laid them on the floor. Helps to have a big open space so you can lay everything out. This helps you see everything. It also helps you organize as you go. If you have small children or animals, that's going to be a little more challenging. So good to do this when everybody's out of the house. As you can see, there's all kinds of stuff here, and it's kind of a mess. So where do we begin? Well, can't just throw all this stuff in the backpack together. I mean, it could, but that's going to be a big mess and it's going to be so unorganized. And when I get to camp, I'm going to have a big mess at camp. So I start by organizing some of these things together that go together. For instance, my food items. These are going to be packaged together, and I'll show you how I do that. And then we have electronics. Certain things just go together. Your hygiene items, maybe cook stuff. And so let's get started trying to make sense of this mess. So one thing that's really helpful for me in organizing is bags. So you can get all kinds of stuff sacks and dry bags and stuff like that. The system that ended up working for me most is Ziplocs. And then recently I got some other bags. So let's start by looking at what I have for bags just to organize some of that little stuff. So definitely Ziplocs, gallon-sized Ziplocs. I use a lot of these. And yeah, I know Ziplocs is a name brand, whatever. But and I'm going to use these for lots of different things. One thing I use these for is I put each day's food in a separate Ziploc. So I know how much to take. I know what I have for each day. So I don't eat everything the first day or something like that, or just bring too much. These are also what I use for my garbage. So after I eat a meal, any wrappers and things like that, I'm going to put these in a Ziploc. Okay, and I typically will take some smaller ones as well. I actually use the quart size for my first aid kit. That'll probably change here shortly because I've been able to get some really cool custom made bags. So what I have are these little black bags, which are pretty cool. I've got one for my electronics. I've got a bag for my poop shovel and toilet paper and hygiene like that. And these bags were custom made by Yvonne at JP Custom Creations. And she's in Halfway, Oregon. Made these bags for me. They're super awesome. And if you're interested in something like that, I'll leave a link below to her contact information. And then those little bags are going to go into a bigger bag just to keep everything kind of together so I can find it easily. So what I'm using right now is just this, I hesitate to say ditty bag. That's a word that everybody uses. I don't understand where that word came from. I don't know why they say that. I don't like to say ditty bag. I just have this bag for my stuff. But this was made by Hilltop Packs. It's really cool. They can custom make all kinds of items, bags, small bags, food bags. So Hilltop Packs, I'll also put a link below if you're interested in them. It's a lot of stuff. I'm going to organize it. You know, I've got the bags. I'm also going to have a bigger bag that I'm going to have all of my food in that I'm not eating on the trail anyway. And you want to have a bag for that because if you're in bear country, or even if not in bear country, if you're in camp, you want to hang your food unless you are required to have a bear canister. Because that's not just going to keep it away from bears, but chipmunks and things will just wreak havoc on your food. So if you leave food out, animals are going to get into it. And if you hang it up, that's going to keep it from bears and deer and stuff. But also chipmunks, they're just horrible. Chipmunks, squirrels. But, you know, if it's secure in a bag, they'll have a harder time getting to it. But mostly for the little rodents and the bears, we're going to hang our stuff. And I have a bag for that. And the bag I use for food that I've pretty much always used, I've got a new one because the old one just was falling apart. But I just used one of these drawstring little backpack bags. Thing is, I don't know that these are necessarily waterproof, so hanging your stuff in the rain could be a problem, but all my stuff's also in Ziplocs. So this is about what I generally will use. You can also use a dry bag, and I have one of those. I'll probably try that this summer as well, but for this trip, all of our food is going to go into this. So this is a 3-night trip. I'm going to have 3 dinners. I'm going to have 3 breakfasts and whatever snacks and lunches in between. So let's make a little sense of this mess. So I've got my dinners here. So here's a couple. And I've got those here. So I'm going to separate those for now. I can put these in the big Ziploc, but these are pretty large, so mostly I'm going to focus on the little stuff. So first day I'm not going to need a breakfast, so let's see what we want. I'm going to choose one of these dinners. We're going to try the new chicken tiki masala from Mountain House. Along the trail I'm going to need some snacks, so I think midday, we're going to eat this Bobo's thing here, and probably going to take another bar or 2. So, going to put these together. This is going to be day 1. Since there's not a lot here, I'm just using a smaller Ziploc. Okay. So there's 1 day food. We'll set this aside. Second day, we're going to wake up in camp. We're going to want breakfast. After a big day of hiking, I think we're going to start out with some homestyle biscuits and gravy. All right. This first day, we're going to stay in camp. We're not going to do a lot of hiking. So at midday, I'm probably going to want to eat a little something. So we're going to put this on a tortilla. Now, I don't have the tortillas yet because they're going to spoil. So I'm going to pick those up later. But we're going to have that at lunchtime. Probably a bar, and we're going to throw this snack in for day 2, and then we're going to want a dinner. So here's our dinner. Now that's not a lot of food. I might want to throw more snacks and things in here, but for the purposes of just how I organize and pack, this is what we've got. Now in this case, I can use a gallon Ziploc. And I can probably fit these in here just for organizing purposes. So we're going to have a Ziploc And that's going to be day 2. And just so I know, day 2. And day 1. The third day, we're going to be hiking out, but we're going to have breakfast. My breakfast is going to be some oatmeal. I'm going to want some coffee. And midday, again, we're going to have a tortilla. And in this case, we're going to put together some salsa. I just found this recently, so we're going to try that out. And little snacks, bar, and then we're also going to want dinner. So here's our dinner. And so these will go in a Ziploc as well. Last day, gonna wake up, have some cocoa. We're gonna have some oatmeal. We're gonna have some coffee. And we're gonna hike out. So got little snacks along the way here for that. And these will go in the last Ziploc. So now everything is organized by day. And I'm also gonna probably throw in a couple of more bars and things just in case. So we're getting enough calories if we get hungry, get the munchies. That's our hike out day, day 4. So all of our food is organized. This is all going to go into the food bag. With the exception of day 1, because we're gonna want this handy. All right, and now I've got some electronics and I've got a bag for that. So here I have my power bank, goes in the bag. Got my MP3 player, also gonna go in the bag. I've got that in a little hard case so it doesn't accidentally turn on. Charging cable. Got my headphones. And my headlamp. So all of these things going in this little bag together because they belong together, and now I don't have all of those items, just loose. Now, got my special poop bag here, so that's going to hold my trowel. We're going to have some toilet paper in here, hand sanitizer. And I got my little toothbrush and some toothpaste here. So now, all of those items are together where they belong. Okay, and now I've got a few extra loose items here. And those are going to go into this bag. Not calling it a ditty bag. I won't. I refuse. But anyway, I have this little microfiber cloth. This helps with condensation and things like that on your tent. So I'm trying that out. Got my Lucy light because we're going to take a lantern this time. We're going to throw that in there. Notebook, pencil, and I got my pocket knife. This is so small, I'm putting it in this bag as well. Got some cleaning cloths for also poop bag stuff. Got my spork. I would put this with my cook stuff, but it's big and it fits better in here. And some paracord for hanging my food. So I'm putting all of those together in here and adding my electronics to this bag as well. So all those little things are now together and not going to be loose in my pack. Okay, let's get started packing all of this into the backpack. So here's our backpack. In this case, it's going to be a Teton pack. And we're going to start with the sleeping bag. And we're not going to pack it like that. So that's going to go into a stuff sack. All right, so we have our sleeping bag in a stuff sack. You don't have to put it in a stuff sack. Some people will just put this in loose and let things compress it down. I like the stuff sack. It gives me a little peace of mind that I'm not going to get any tears or rips in this. So with this particular backpack, it does have a compartment in the bottom. Most backpacks do. That is for your sleeping bag. So we're going to put that in here in the bottom. If you don't have this compartment, just put your sleeping bag at the bottom in your backpack. Now, if it's going to rain or you're worried about getting anything wet, you can wrap this in a garbage bag just for a little extra security. Okay, so sleeping bag at the bottom. This is compressible, so that's why I put it at the bottom. Everything else is just going to push that down. It's going to give us plenty of space to pack things. Now, in the main compartment now, with the same idea in mind, we're going to take our sleeping clothes, any extra clothes that we're not going to be wearing on the trail, and we're going to put those in the bottom. At this point, I would also add a puffy jacket, things like that, as long as you're not going to wear them while you're hiking to where you're going. So, and these lighter items on the bottom are going to allow us to put heavier items up higher, and we're going to want those heavier items near our back. That's going to keep the center of gravity near our back, and that's going to keep us from getting off kilter, be pulled back because we have more weight away from us. So with that in mind, we also want to think about what are the things that you're going to need on the trail. We don't want to bury those in our backpack. And then think about when you get to camp, what are you going to need first? And or do you want to just have to pull everything out of your backpack to try to find your tent or things like that? Anyway, here we are. I've got the extra clothes at the bottom. I'm going to be thinking about what other light items I don't need. And so we're going to, next, I'm going to put my food in here with the exception of what I'm eating on the first day before I get to camp. So here's my food bag. Just going to drop it right in there. And I'm trying to keep things fairly balanced as far as weight goes, so I put that in sideways. So at this point, I'm thinking about my tent because it has tent stakes and it takes up some room. So even though there are other items that I'm not going to need before the tent's probably going to go in around this point. Okay, so for me, that's what I'm going to do. So let's grab the tent. And in this case, I store everything together in the stuff sack, but that's not what I'm going to necessarily do in the backpack because the stakes are long. And if I take the stakes out of this bag, I can stuff the fly and the tent together and it's going to be more compressible. So I've taken the stakes out, I'm putting this back in, but I actually don't have to. So I can just stuff it in like this. I put it in the stuff sack just because it kind of keeps it all together. Okay, so here we have the tent. It's very compressible and I have the stakes separate. So at this point, I'm going to put the tent in. I put it in sideways like this, compress it just for space sake. So I'm putting that in now, turning it sideways. And now my tent stakes. You can pack these inside or outside of the backpack. I put them inside just because I'm afraid maybe they'll come off and I'll lose them. And those are going to go just kind of down the side for me. And they're nearer to me because they're a little heavier. And we still have some space here. Next, I'm taking my sleeping pad and my cook stove and system, and because those are a little heavier, those are going to go near my back. So in this case, we're bringing the Climate Static V. Drop it in there. Cook system, this has my fuel. It has the stove has a lighter. And now that is in there as well. We're getting down to just a few more items here. I have my not ditty bag here. These are all things I'm not going to need during the day. So I'm just tossing those in there. They could be anywhere. They could be below this stuff. Now we're getting down to the last few things. Now, the only things left I have that I'm not going to need while I'm hiking are a pillow and my hammock and a cup. So let's throw those in to the main compartment. Pillow. Now I put the pillow near the top just so I'm not digging for it when I get to camp, because I don't pack it in like another bag or anything. So that way I'm not digging for it. Here's my hammock system for lounging in camp, and my cup. And for the sake of space, I can put other things inside of this if I'm running out of room in my backpack. So right now, that is everything that I'm definitely not going to need on the trail. And we're packed pretty well. At this point, I'm gonna take my hygiene poop bag. I'm gonna just throw that on top, just in case of emergency along the way. It'll be something I can get to quickly, but generally I don't need that. Another thing that I'm going to put on the top, because it was pointed out to me that it makes no sense to put this with all of your other small items, is my first aid kit. So I can either put that in the brain of the pack, or I can just put it in the top of here, knowing that it's right there readily available, and it just takes a couple of snaps to get to that. So that's going next. And the final piece for inside here right now is going to be my camp shoes, because when I get to camp, I'm kicking off those boots. Those camp shoes are going on first. And another reason to have those near the top is if you come to a water crossing, you don't want to get your boots wet. If you've got separate shoes for water crossings, that's super helpful. So we're pretty full here. This is a smaller pack, not the one I normally use, but, and now I have a drawstring here and little lid latch here, right? But we're not done yet. So I have a few more items, but some of these things are things that I'm going to need along the way. So what else am I going to have that I might need? Water filtration. So generally, I'm going to put those in the brain of the pack. This is called the brain, the top. This has a zipper here to store some items. This is where my water filter always goes. So, got my water filter, taking the back flush, syringe. Not a big fan of it, but it's a good idea to have. And I've got this water bag for collecting water to filter, and that's gonna go with this as well. And those are all going right here in the top. Now I also bring body glide. Sometimes this goes in the hip pocket. In this case, after I use it, I'm gonna throw it in the top as well, in case I need it again. And then I'm going to put my lunch, things like that, in the top as well, so that when I stop, it is right there ready for me. I'll probably put another bar or two in there, just in case I get hungry along the way. And then the other things I'm going to want are going to be things that would go in a hip pocket. Now, in this case, I haven't used this bag forever, this backpack forever, so I am noticing that this does not have a pocket on the left side of the hip belt. All of my other backpacks do, but it does on the right side. So in this, I'm gonna take things that I'm gonna need throughout the day, and that's going to include sunscreen and bug protection. Those are gonna go right in this little pocket here. Usually gonna put a little granola bar or something in the other pocket. This one doesn't have one, but it does have mesh pockets on the sides, generally for water bottles, and I can put bars in that as well if I don't want them near my bug spray. Hydration packets to add to my water. I'm going to take 1 or 2 of these along the way. Those are going to go in the hip pocket as well. And chapstick. Water bottles are going to go in the side. I don't have those with me yet. I'm going to pick those up. They're just going to slide right into these pockets on the side. And the only other items I have left are a compass. I'm going to throw that just in one of the zip pockets of my pants. And a map, which generally these packs are going to have some kind of a place to put things on the outside. This one does not. So in this case, I would put my map in the brain. But if I have a mesh flap on the outside to hold things, usually that's where I put my map. And the only other item I have right now left is my Garmin InReach. Now, this has got an SOS button. This is for emergencies. I don't want this buried in my pack. So I'm going to put this on a carabiner, strap it right there, and then we're good to go. And that's everything we have for this backpacking trip. Now, when you get out there and you start hiking, this might feel a little off kilter, and you may have to adjust as you go a little bit. But basically just remember the concept of compressible light items at the bottom, heavy items at your back, and pack things that you need where you can get to them quickly. As a side note, this is a trash compactor bag. They sell these at grocery stores. It's thick plastic. It is basically a garbage bag. If it's going to rain, you can put this inside your pack first, open it up, and then pack your items in that, and then roll it down, and then you are going to have waterproofing if it's going to rain a lot. Also pack covers for the outside. I actually like those a lot, but when I know it's going to rain, these are a good idea. So that is basically how I would pack for a 3-night trip. And again, you can do this however you like. You've got straps on the outside, depending on what your backpack is. This Teton, it's comfortable. It's a decent pack. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that I have with my preferred Osprey pack, but in this case, I just wanted to kind of use something that most backpackers could probably afford if they're just starting out. So that's how I do it. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment below. I'm sure I've missed something along the way here. But you've got some basic concepts there. And again, if you have questions, comments, please leave them below. If this is helpful for you, consider subscribing to the channel. That helps a lot and you won't miss any videos. And if this is not helpful, you can watch Dan Becker. He's got lots of stuff out there, right? So anyway, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.